Recording in progress.
Okay, we are live now on YouTube and Twitter.
As people are still joining, we will wait for 3 minutes for all the attendees to join us, and after that we will start. Okay, great. Let's start. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Leila Baga. I'm head of data science at FASRO. Today, we have the fifth presentation of MENA AI and Data Science webinar series. As you may know, this webinar series is supported by MENA Center at University of California, Berkeley. This presentation and all previous presentation can be found on the FASRO YouTube channel for those who missed them or those who want to revise them. Today's webinar named AI-Centric Innovation will be presented by Dr. Yahya Tabesh. It's my pleasure to introduce today's presenter. Those of us who graduated from Sharif University owe him a lot. He's the source of inspiration for many of our success in our education and careers. He's a senior fellow at UC Berkeley. He used to be a visioning professor and research fellow at Stanford University. He is also a distinguished professor at the Sharif University of Technology, where he served as a chairman of the Department of Mathematics and Science and as a director of Computing Center. His current research interest is AI-based quantitative learning, on the basis of which he conceived and implemented an online interactive learning platform while he was at Stanford. The platform is presently under development at Let's Mod, which he co-founded as a startup in Silicon Valley. And also Dr. Tabesh won the Erdos International Award in 2010 for his sustained and distinguished contribution to the enrichment of mathematics and computer education. Dr. Yahya, we can't wait for your presentation.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you, Dr. Leila. It's my great pleasure being with you. This webinar series of the FASRO and MENA. And I really appreciate, Dr. Leila, what you are doing with Masood and all the FASRO around the region. And it's my great pleasure meeting old friends. Dr. Hossein Jan, great pleasure meeting you. It's my honor you are here. Okay, now in the webinar series of the FASRO, we are just going to, mostly they are a survey series, and we have had very good speakers, including Dr. Leila last month or 2 months ago, I don't know. And we had a very good series. Today also, I am going to have a survey review, what is new around us, and bring out just some more ideas about, I am sure most of you are aware what I am going to tell you, but just this is review and we can have a survey, and I will be more than happy if we can have any question and answer and discussion around it. Let me share my screen, and I have developed few slides. I can share my slides with you, and of course later I will send all the slides for Leila and you can just have them. Okay. So let me, okay, see how I can make it. Okay. Let me go to a slide mode. Okay, very good. Okay. So I just thought, what can I say? I just said I can talk about a AI-centric innovation. This time, the most important thing is innovation right now. They are saying that in the fourth and fifth industrial revolution. We are in the age of innovation economy. You remember, still we are saying that we are in knowledge-based economy, digital economy, things like this. But now we have moved to innovation economy, and the engine is this, of course, this artificial intelligence and what's happening. What I mean, so as you know better than me, innovation is product of an ecosystem. Innovation is not happening all of the sudden, and innovation is process. Is a process. In a process, and everything now is about the innovative thinking and innovation. In such, I would say, universities around here at Stanford, Berkeley, everything is about innovation, innovative thinking. And they are very, very, at the Stanford and Berkeley, I am saying that they are very, very result oriented. They are looking for innovative ideas, and whole system, ecosystem is supporting them. Okay, but in this, so the ecosystem is very important, that how we can go through it and have the innovative ideas. And let me tell you, in Silicon Valley, they say secret of Silicon Valley is market-oriented innovation. What I mean, they say not only innovative thinking, not only innovation, but they are supporting the kind of innovation that is going to have the market, is market-oriented. It will have a economy around it. And there are a lot of examples here. The failure is not also is somehow is a credit if you fail here with an innovative idea. But certain time, certain place is needed. Me and Masoud has a good friend, Kamran. Kamran used to be, now is with 4 IPO, but he invented some kind of computer in late 80s or early 90s, I remember. It was the Momenta computer. It was a kind of computer with no keyboard, just a screen touch. It was, you remember, it was a Byte magazine that those time. It appeared on the cover of the Byte also, this Momenta computer with no keyboard. But the community, the society was not ready to handle the computer without keyboard. They didn't have any direct distribution channel. They went to the distribution channels, and since the people was not familiar with how to work with this kind of computer, they failed. A company with $200 million, I think early 90s, they failed, and Kamran left. They fired Kamran, and so, but failure is not. They learn, their lesson learning is very important. So ecosystem and market oriented is very important. And I'm saying that Kamran then came back. He was very successful in now. I think it was last week or 10 days ago. They had a new IPO. I will talk about it. And I have to say, those engineers that developed this Momenta, they went later to the Apple, and they were the guys that who developed this iPad, and in a certain time they became successful. So just if I go to the other things, I can talk more, but I'm saying that every innovative thinking comes through an ecosystem, and of course it's important to be market-oriented innovation to be successful. And in the, I would say, process of innovation, many factors are very important. One of them, I would like to talk about trends of technology. We should always, if you want to find out innovative idea in this, I would say, entrepreneurship courses at the Stanford, Berkeley, and everywhere, they say one of the source of innovative ideas is looking at the trends of technology and see what is trends, what is happening in future. So let us review this kind of trends, and now we will enter the AI, and then we can see how these trends can bring out opportunity for innovative thinking and what's happening. Okay, I go to a fast review. Maybe Dr. Leila just keep me be on time. I talk too much, just stop me. I would say fast review survey, you remember everything started with HP. This is they says the HP is the first company, birthplace of Silicon Valley. McCart used to be two graduate students in E department at Stanford. They had a audio editor as a as the master thesis, and Frederick Terman, chairman, and they was the chairman of the EE department at Stanford, used to be their advisor. When they finished, they received the answers. Terman suggested them go and don't go to be employee, go and make a production line of this audio oscillator and make a company out of it. So they say Frederick Terman is father of Silicon Valley. When this is still is here nearby. This is the garage, HP garage. Packard's family parking. Packard, they went inside it, and this garage, Packard family's garage, and they started HP over here, a production line. The first, they sold the first series to Disney as a production. Birthplace, this garage now still is a Valley. And you know, this garage is now I was icon of in the startup companies idea, and to be focused and to be more effort is important. That you can start in garage, and at Stanford they have a course. They call it a startup garage. The startup garage is a course about learning about how to develop a startup companies. And this garage is an icon of with simple things, with not so much things, not fancy office, not fancy things. In a garage, when you have idea, you are focused, you will be successful. And later, okay, this was 1939. And later on, you know, Second World War stopped many things. And later, you know, the most important thing happened was invention of transistor by William Shockley and the other two scientists. They received a Nobel Prize of Physics because of invention of the transistor. Shockley decided, they were in the AT&T in the east coast of the United States. Shockley decided to make a production line for the transistor. Since his mother was living in Palo Alto, Northern California, he moved to Palo Alto and started the Shockley lab. The goal was to make a production line for transistor and bring it to market. When Shockley started in 1956, the Shockley lab in Palo Alto, he invited few engineers, PhDs, PhDs from MIT and from the East Coast. They joined him in the Shockley lab. But the thing is, to have decent guys, these young guys, young PhDs, they couldn't accept the management style of Shockley. They said, with his management style, nothing will happen. So they left Shockley lab. They are famous 8 guys. Robert Noyce, Gordon Moore are among them. And they went to Fairchild Industries. Fairchild Industries was a industrial I would say, entity here in the Northern California. They joined Fairchild, and Robert Noyce developed the integrated circuits. And IC invented, and again is first commercially, and they brought it to the market. And later on, at that time, you know, the concepts and the culture of the startup companies, investment, they didn't have such cultures still in the Silicon Valley. But the most important thing, Silicon Valley became the place for coincide of science, technology, culture, arts, and economy and business. So many new things, it was ready for happening new things and being the capital of innovation. But it still was not, the ecosystem was not invented yet. So, but after a while, these guys, especially Robert Noyce and Gordon Moore, they decided to leave the Fairchild and they established the Intel company. It's the most successful company in the chip design. Out of this effort of Shockley Lab and Fairchild, Silicon Valley call it here because they put the transistor and ICs on those silicon wafers. So it happens that they call this area Silicon Valley, and they were very successful in Intel. It happened to bring out many opportunity for development of digitalization of many more things around us. And another big things happened. I'm following the trends. What happened? Xerox company, they in the supply about this Xerox machines and copy machines. They established a research center in the Palo Alto in here around near the Stanford University, and they brought around a bunch of scientists here and asked them to go and study, find out what is needed in the future offices, in future administration system, what they may need. Scientists work, and they invented the first personal computer. But the Xerox didn't go to those things. They said, who will pay for this personal computer? And still Xerox Mark is here. They are working on new things, the innovative ideas. But it's time for, this is the, I would say, anti-innovation decision by the Xerox. It was time for community needed freedom on the computation. We used to have the mainframes only, and it was not so easy working with mainframes, but they didn't consider it as an opportunity. But at the same time, what happened? Here in the area, it was a place for those hackers, those young guys that were interested to do new things. There is still here in Homeboro Computer Lab, and it was a place for the youngsters and hackers going there. Steve Wozniak made such a personal computer and brought it to show to the other guys at the Homeboro Club, Computer Club, and Steve Jobs was the guy that understood this is the future. He got the point, and they established Apple company, and you know what happened through this. And of course, later on, they received also some support from the Xerox PARC, and you know the story. Okay, and the most important thing happened out of this establishment of Apple is Apple established in 1976, and you know about those Macintosh computers and later on things like this. But Apple went IPO in 1980 with the cap value of more than 1 billion, more than $1.5 billion also, $1 billion. So this was a breakthrough because all the investors, they understood that I would say this is the happening knowledge-based economy. With knowledge, with invention, you can have such big companies, such big success. So the investors came to support youngs and I would say innovative ideas. And this was how this ecosystem of the entrepreneurship happened, and Silicon Valley became the capital of innovation and the startup companies ecosystem. I may go back to, I want to see how this AI is the trends now. I may go back, we keep this, I would say a startup ecosystem just flourished, and this ecosystem for investors from angel investment going to this Series A, Series B investment, and those innovative ideas and became exit strategy things was happening and was established. But if we go back to late, mid 1930s, one more thing happens, and it was, the Turing machine. Everything is in computer and programming. Everything goes back to Turing. It was Alan Turing was a PhD student under Alonso Church, and they for his doctorate research, he went through one of those famous 23 problems that David Hilbert suggested in 1900 at the ICM, International Congress of Mathematicians at Paris. And for working on that, one of those problems as his PhD research, he invented this idea of Turing machine. And everything is about the computer and programming in Turing machine. And you know, John von Neumann at Princeton, they got the idea, they went through the first computers, and of course it was with a vacuum tube, and you know about the ENIAC and things happened. So this was the first thing that everything again happened about the bringing out new computers. And Turing, you know about this, how he made about this in this during the Second World War, how they worked on the German, I would say, Enigma machine, and they broke the codes. And what happened after World War in 1950s, Alan Turing made another most important thing. This is the beginning of the AI. He published a paper in 1950s and it was all about can a machine think, can machine think, machines think. So this was the beginning of the bringing the idea, and he invented the Turing test to classify intelligence among the machine. And so everything started with this paper in 1950s about this. This is the origin of first time the idea of artificial intelligence appeared, and the basic ideas. Unfortunately, you know, we lost Turing, and those things that happened to him. He didn't follow, and he couldn't follow. We couldn't see anything out of him. But the other thing happened. It was the idea of artificial intelligence appeared out of his, I would say, his novel paper about the 1950 papers. And you know, the famous guy, John McCarthy, and Marvin Minsky, John McCarthy in Stanford, he brought the word artificial intelligence, John McCarthy, and established the AI lab at Stanford. It still is the most important place, AI lab at the Stanford Department of Computer Science, and also Marvin Minsky in Harvard. They and also Claude Shannon in Bell Labs, and you know how it happened around them. And John McCarthy brought this idea of artificial intelligence. And what happened? This is McCarthy, and I am lucky in my undergraduate studies during I had the chance in conference. I met him, and we were inspired by him. For the first time, he showed us a video about a robot that can have intelligence and can recognize things like this. And you know, they developed the first games around things like here. And this is the robots, and this is Marvin Minsky at MIT. So they brought this idea of artificial intelligence, and I will talk more about how they established. And more things also happened around us. You may remember, or you have heard about this famous Space Odyssey movie that Stanley Kubrick and made it out of the Arthur C. Clarke. They brought it. They had a character. They called it Hal. If you have seen the movie, Hal was the first time that the robot is talking and robot is there, and it was just imagination about it. It was, but it happened. You know, we will see how we are using these kind of things, and many funny started to be also in the, I would say, futurists. They thought about futures. They brought this idea of using this artificial intelligence and things like this. Okay, let me go back to here, become out of these funny things. And if you go look at the timeline, it was, they call it AI winner. First AI winner and second AI winners. this was, you know, the Turing test invented in 1950s, and Marvin Minsky and John McCarthy brought the idea of artificial intelligence. But it was a time that things was stopped. They couldn't follow it so much. But later we come here in the late 2010 and 2012, it started to be, the revolution started. I will talk more. Let me go faster, not so much. Oh, another big guy here is Arthur Samuel. I will show him. He brought this idea of machine learning, and first time used this idea of machine learning, and considered by many. In 1956, you know, John McCarthy and Marvin Minsky organized I would say summer research camp, summer research project about in artificial intelligence, and everything happened that to be flourished artificial intelligence ideas, these machine learning ideas, everything started to be flourished in till 1960s, 1970s, and things was going forward very fast. I have this Arthur Samuel also. He is a big guy. He invented the ideas of machine learning, and in the IBM with the mainframe. Still, it was not time for they can use the personal computers, and he invented the first chess. I think the first chess computer game, and you know the stories game. Maybe you can follow up. He's also a big guy in the process, that if you want to talk about him. Okay, but what happened? I can say theory to reality, how it happened. A lot of ideas around the machine learning and about these kind of ideas of deep learning and neural systems happen to be there. Let me go to next slide, tell you more about how it happened in last 5, 6, 7, 10 years. Okay, you know, when they at Intel and also at the Fairchild, they invented the IC, and later on they went, Gordon Moore and Robert Noyce, they went to Intel, and they were started to develop this idea of the integral circuits, and about this, it brought the computation power. Moore's law is an observation, it's not a law. Actually, it is an observation by Gordon Moore. He stated in 1965, in the early time that this integral circuits technology was developing. He observed that in almost every 18 months, 2 years, 18 months, the number of transistors on an IC will be doubled. We can double the number of I would say transistor on integrated circuits. So, and it happens to be when we have such more powerful integrated ICs, we will have more computing power. And developing the computing power was source of development, source of revolution for everything, in making new applications, making new things, and even for decades, also 1-2 decades, everything was also under development. These ICs, I would say business, technology, science, everything was have impacted through the development of ICs like this. But it went through, I would say around 2010, and after that, it became to the limits, and now by limits, now it is not happening that anymore to be doubled in 18 months. Still, they are improving, but I have to say the computing power now is limitless, no bound for it. So it was the time that this neural network system, deep learning, you can apply it very commonly. And this was the thing that happened. As I said, these new things that happen, computer scientists and all people went through applications. Now it was time that you can use all the big ideas of John McCarthy, Arthur Samuel in machine learning, deep learning, because of the computing power. They had no limits to the computing power. You know better than me how much computing power is needed to apply deep learning or machine learning systems. So when we had no bound over it, no limit over it, so it happens to be flourishing and became the age of AI, or AI-centric innovation is happening. And I may say how it works. It works like this. Yeah, how AI works, okay, we are in a connected world, Internet of Things, and they are happening, they generating much more data, and you can process this kind of data through the cloud system in a neural systems. And this is how deep learning is helping, and you can have control and prediction on I would say on time control and prediction. And if you look, this now deep learning is the core of the AI, and this machine learning and mostly deep learning is at the core of AI application and things like this. So this is how things happened around us, how this became a trend. And I would say when we had some no limits in the computing, no computing power was, we had no limits on it. We could apply this neural system, deep learning, neural system technologies, and then we can apply it. We can have a bunch of data, and you know how you can train a system, and you can have prediction systems out of it and things like this. But let me review most important new things during last few years around us. You have heard maybe about this AlphaZero. It was amazing what happened. A deep learning, deep mind company, Google acquired it. They are very, very, very powerful about bringing out these new applications and how they are developing these new ideas about applications of AI and deep learning in developing this prediction and things like this. AlphaZero is about, say, working, I would say, a chess playing or a game playing engine like this. But what is important about it? The most important thing is that in these new AI applications, these are not, I would say, we are not putting the system that human minds thinking and using the computer to make it fast. The most important thing is they had no pre-programmed moves. It was not some sorts of game decision making that you are going to have, I would say, a tree that see what's happening next and how you pre-program everything, and a machine game player goes through those, I would say, decision tree system and making a decision to go next. But in this AlphaZero, this using this AI and deep learning in deep mining, this AlphaZero, nothing is programmed, and they just have the strategies because they are not. It is not coming from the human mind. How we should program them that go and make a decision tree and work on it. They just have the rule of they instructed by the rules and basic strategies, and they will bring out all the new strategies that no one can guess before. I will talk more about it, and these are one of the most important things that is happening, and we can have observation about it. Another example of the big thing is about in 2020, MIT announced discovery of a novel antibiotic, how they can approach to it. And the most important, they call it Hallucine. Hallucine is coming from the hall I mentioned you in the Odyssey 2001, Space Odyssey, the Hall computer. Now they brought it and they call it Hallucine. This what they discovered over here. But again, is the kind that they discovered it. It was not the thing that it was not just bring out of the human mind that how it should happen. And we use the computers and we use the systems to just have a fast calculation and bring out the result. This the system that they developed, the system itself, the AI system itself discovered the ideas. Never a human mind was aware of it. And they made a powerful antibiotic things that is going to happen like this. And they brought a lot of new things and is going to bring out more things out of it. Another thing is about another example recently announced 2 years ago, I think, again through the DeepMind. It is about the, they call it Alphabol. This is also by Google. It was a solution to a 50-year-old big problem, about challenging problem, about the structure of the protein. And they brought more ideas about it. Again, they deployed and they used those AI systems, AI application, and those again they trained the machine, and the machine went through it. The system went through it and discovered things like this. More things. Last week also, or I don't know, 10 days ago, they announced a breakdown in plastic. They discovered some bacteria that can go through just find, one of the most important thing about the sustainable development and those pollution around us is, about these plastics in the oceans, in everywhere. These are the true problems in the sustainable development. 10 days ago, they announced that they have find out an enzyme that they can destroy some kind of plastics. And there is now a paper published in the Nature magazine, and is about very, very big discovery. And everything happened through AI. No one can find out those such ideas. Ideas did not come through the human mind and to be calculated on the computer. I would say the AI systems, artificial intelligence system, they went through it and they find out the thing that is now happening, and 12% of all plastics. And so it is a new way that eye-opening, that how we can work on these polluted ideas. More things. Oh yeah, I remember the camera, and is another last week or 10 days ago, the SoundHound, a voice assistant, they went IPO for more than 2 billion. They started at Stanford in 2005. And Kayvan Mohajer, a big guy, is a graduate student at Stanford. He started this basic idea of the voice assistant, and Kamran and others supported him. And the company now, SoundHound, is the most successful voice assistants. Netflix is using it, Mercedes-Benz is using it, and many more places. Far behind the Alexa and Siri and things like this, and it went IPO for more than 2 billion. And everything, this voice assistant, everything based on artificial intelligence and using data system and deep learning system like this. So I have to say they will have started, and everything is going forward like this. We should expect many more stories like this, many more success stories like this out of the AI system. And how they have predicted, they are saying that artificial intelligence is going to have more, I would say, will bring more changes in the human civilization rather than fire and electricity. And it is true, it is going to happen. But the most important thing, the characteristics of AI, including capabilities to learn, evolve, and make surprise, will disrupt and transform them all. This is the characteristic. And I have to say, it is the most important thing, that it is not coming through the human mind. They are going to discover things. The system is bringing out such new, in the chess playing, the AlphaZero is inventing, is suggesting the new way of chess playing, or things like this, that you cannot no human mind ever could imagine it. This is the most important thing that is happening to be, that we are here, we are now, that the technology is not anymore the tool, it is a partner. You know, technology is a partner in about around us, not only a tool. And the most important thing is that innovation is no more extension of the things that we know already. Innovation is happening through this partnership with technology. And we should expect much more things like this, and system developing solution beyond the scope of human imagination. And these are the just, it is not, I have to say, as I said, these are the I may conclude my talk. What's happening, the most important thing is that the lesson we learn, as they said, the AI is going to every systems, every, I would say, tool, everything should be AI enabled, and AI is going to change everything more than electricity, changing the human civilization more than electricity and fire during the history. And how is it happening? It is because technology is not a tool right now anymore. Technology and AI is going to be a partner in, I would say, in innovation. It is a partner in innovation. It is not just a tool. They will bring out more ideas by themselves, and the innovation is not anymore extension of the things that we have already know, and human mind is going to extend it. Innovation is happening to basic, very original things. It's going to be very basic things happen through the technologies. And these are the most important lessons that we learn. And I have to say, this AI-centric innovation is based on this kind of thing, that they bring out the direction that no human, from learning of logical, the human mind is coming out. The human mind is bringing this, developing this system based on the data, and developing find out the new things. And we develop the systems, and the systems are going to bring out new things and extension and innovative thinking. This is the age of AI. This is the AI-centric innovation is happening like this. And of course, my conclusion always, I am in favor of education and training. So we look forward and we see so much. We should bring out training about this application, training about this data science and AI application and AI system as best as we can around the globe for the new generations. And such more data scientists are needed. And I know Dr. Leila, Dr. Hussein, you are the experts around here. And I look forward and see how much more data science around the globe, in the Middle East, in the US, everywhere is needed. And we should put more effort in training, a supplement training for the future data scientists. And all the engineers also should be repurposed. All other, I would say, majors should be aware of these things, and they can use and apply these basic ideas of AI and data science. And it is important we support the training and supplement training and future education around us. Okay, Dr. Leila, I went too much. I may stop here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the great presentation, Dr. Yahya. It's just in your presentation that we can hear about the history, transition, and the state of the art of AI technology. And it was really, and we all inspired about what AI can do. Thank you so much for the presentation. Let's go ahead and have some time for questions. Let me check the chat for question. Okay, we don't have any question in the chat box. Thank you so much, Dr. Hussein, for your text. If you have a question from Dr. Yahya, please raise your hand. In Zoom, I will select you to ask your question. Masood, please.
Hi, Dr. Yahya. Thank you very much for the talk and apologize for the background noise. I think everybody that knows me is like, I prefer to work in a coffee shop, and this is unfortunately the consequence. But back to the question, right at the end of the talk, we talked about how AI, will be, let's say, generating knowledge that's not been generated by humans. In other words, they're creating new knowledge in a sense. My concern is that, this sort of super artificial intelligent, almost life form, could actually surpass the, let's say, intelligence of the humans, right? And at a certain point, it could theoretically go out of control, right? So what are your thoughts about this in general? Do you think that's a plausible reality? And what do you think we should do about it?
Yeah, it's very good question, Masood. Yeah, of course, I went through all the positive sides, and of course, there are a lot of this kind of concerns, and these are also the I would say the pioneers now. They are I have to say that they are working on these things. They are consider these obstacles and the ethics and the things like this, and they are working on it. We should consider very seriously some kind of outcomes that can bring out difficulties and things like this. We should consider it in a very certain way. And yeah, this very valid concern that you brought is a very valid concern. And as I said, in many places, they are considering this kind of approach and this kind of thinking about these obstacles. These are what they call it ethics or things like this, and working on them as well. Maybe, I don't know, maybe later on under United Nations, we will need an organization that could be regulatory for these things, maybe needed. Sometimes these regulatories is they put some, I would say, they keep, they don't let us to move fast and going fast forward. They may stop us, but still maybe some kind of regulatory will be needed. And maybe I can imagine, such as I would say, there will be some regulatory organization globally that all countries may join it, and they should follow these regulatories and things like this.
Okay. Great. Masood, do you have other question?
That's all for me for now.
Thank you.
Okay. And now, Dr. Leila, maybe I should appreciate you and Masood organizing this series, and these are very good. I think we should keep on going, and I'm sure it will bring more opportunities in the region in the Middle East and in our region, and it will be very good. I will be more than happy to hear from you and Masood and what you are doing.
Sure, of course, sure. It's a pleasure. Thank you. We have two more questions. Antonio, please ask your question.
Sure. Thank you, Leila and the team, for organizing this webinar, and so thank you, Dr. Yahya, for the great presentation. Just a super simple question, okay? Yeah, all these historical checkpoints you share with us today, will you consider this evolution or revolution?
Of course it is. I think now these are the, as I said, this partnership with these new technologies is just started. And I think in many cases, I didn't brought any more, I would say, examples about how drug discovery is now all about this, applying these systems, about the prediction, about the cancer prediction. A lot of things is happening. Dr. Leila talked to a few weeks ago about it, and how we can use this AI system for cancer prediction and prediction of the disease. Many things in everywhere we can have more application and bring out more opportunities out of it.
Thank you. Great. Shada, yeah, Shada Omidi, please ask your question.
Hello, do you have my voice?
Yes, we have.
And actually, I got a question, and it's not completely about our topics, but it's hard to find Dr. Tabesh and ask this question. I'm an undergraduate student in university, and I study mathematics, and we are still learning, and we're like to find what we're interested in. We don't know. It's like applied mathematics or pure mathematics, and I just want to know some advices to a person who's decided in mathematics and wanted to be in good place in future. Thank you.
Well, if I got Shada your point now, if you want to relate it to this AI and data science approach, of course, mathematicians are true partners. It could be, and they can bring out original ideas. Maybe later on, Dr. Hussein can give you more ideas. He knows everything around this, about this. And of course, this is an opportunity for mathematicians, for mathematics department. I have to say, at Stanford, the course of machine learning, deep learning is, Andrew Nagy is the famous guy, is teaching this machine learning, deep learning. And I would say the classes is like our calculus class, 300, 200, 400 students are attending his class every semester at Stanford. I believe same as calculus, we can have such those, I would say, deep learning, machine learning, AI classes, and all over the universities. Dr. Hussein, you should bring out such courses. I was suggesting to Castro also, they should have such courses for all engineers, all the engineering, and this is an opportunity for math students and scientists like this. And I saw supplement training is needed. The PhDs in engineering, and I recently met one of the PhD mechanical engineering PhDs from Stanford. I met him, and he went. I asked him, "What is she doing?" PhD in mechanical engineering, very, very successful at Stanford. She said she is working on data science as a data scientist at Amazon. A lot of them are working like this. And all engineers, they should be repurposed. They need supplement training. And these are opportunities for mathematicians, and in statistics and mathematics, there are a lot of things that can happen through these things like this. And there are a lot of opportunities in making the system AI enabled. And I think there are a lot of opportunity for innovation here. Last year, a student came to me for his master thesis. He was in information technology, and he was working in a cement factory. He was in the maintenance department of a cement factory. I told him, go and find out the pain point in the there and see if you can provide some data. You can develop a system for prediction or control the system. He went through it. He was, of course, a very intelligent guy, talented. He went through, studied everything in the cement factory and in maintenance department. He brought the idea that is a pneumatic valves over there that is controlling system. And sometimes out of the procedure for the overhaul, it will stop and the factory will have a lot of trouble to be stopped and too much, I would say, waste of time and money is happening. And he gathered the data, all of the data of the history of how things is happening with this kind of pneumatic valves. And he developed a prediction system with using these deep learning algorithms. And he developed a system that is going to be a control system that will prevent the valve to be stopped out of the control and a lot of good things. And so you can find a lot of this kind of problems around everywhere. This to make AI enable things, a lot of whenever you generate data, you can apply it and you can make a prediction and control system. And so these are a lot of opportunities for mathematicians and for, if you make a good idea, a lot of good ideas could be innovative ideas between a mathematician, a computer scientist, a businessman. Good ideas, good production could be a startup company, and you can go through the market and bring out global market, regional market. And these are the opportunities that we should consider very carefully and very properly. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I guess we covered all the questions. Dr. Tabesh, is there anything else you wanted to cover before a wrap up?
No, it was my great pleasure to meeting you and other good friends such as Dr. Hussein and other friends, Masood and others. And so thank you so much again, Dr. Leila and Fezro, to bringing ideas like these, and look forward to seeing you more. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your great presentation and your help to having this webinar series and the partnership with UC Berkeley. For all of them, we really appreciate for your effort. And at the end, I should say thank you to everyone who joined our webinar. We will look forward to see you in our next webinar. Thanks a lot. Have a good day, evening, morning.
Have a great night, great day.
Great day.
See you all. Bye-bye.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All of you.
Bye.
Pleasure being with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Hussein.
Have a nice time.
You too. Thank you.